Hey guys, the time has finally come to review the new Blendbunny palette, and I'm always excited whenever Blendbunny comes out with a new release. Now, I have had this palette in my hands for a few days now, probably like 4. I did get this palette the day before it launched, which I wish Blendbunny would send out their releases just like a little bit earlier because I hate feeling rushed and I really want to give you guys a good review of the things that I'm testing out. So I didn't want to just do a first impression video. I'm going to show you 3 looks today. It may or may not be enough, but it's all I'm going to have time for because I do have other releases that I'm working on currently as well that I need to really finish before the launch date. So today we're going to be reviewing, I'm sorry if I'm looking down, I don't know who this creator is, but this is a collaboration with Donnie Darkovich. Like I said, I've never heard of this person until this collab, so I'm sorry if I said the name incorrectly, but this is the Little Miss She Never Misses palette, and I think the cover art on this and like the whole theming of it is very like kind of Matrix gaming inspired, and I think it's really, really cool. So I love this. I think it is super, super fun. And then we have the color story on the inside, which is, I feel like more of a sort of grungy rainbow than what Blendbunny has come out with before, and I think it's a very interesting color story. If I'm being honest, it's not my favorite color story from the brand just because there are a lot of dark multichromes in here, which black-based shadows in general are just not really my favorite, but that doesn't mean that I can't review these for what they are and like tell you what the formulas are like. But color story wise, I wish there were some lighter shimmers and not just like one in the middle here, but I can definitely work around that. I can pull in, you know, other things if I need to, but I'm excited to show you the looks I've done with this because I've had a really good time with it, which obviously, I mean, is Blendbunny. It's just one of my favorite brands and they never let me down. So I already know that the third look is going to be great. I do have another thing that I want to test out with you guys as well. So I randomly got an email from P. Louise like a week ago asking to fill out like a questionnaire if I wanted to get a PR package, and they sent me their eyeshadow primer, which I've had this primer in the past and I was kind of like iffy about it. It wasn't my favorite, but I thought what I could do is I could compare it to the one that I've been using recently, which is the DD Signature one, because these are so similar, like scarily similar. They're going to be a little bit of a difference in the color, so I'm not going to make this video about this primer, but I'm going to use this on the eye that I usually don't show myself applying shadows on too much, and then I'll compare them and we'll just see if there is a difference. I remember the P. Louise primer creasing on me a little bit, so I'm curious to see like how things have changed. So I'm using my DD Signature one on this eye, and then I'll do the P. Louise one on the other eye, and we'll just kind of see what the difference is. I feel like maybe I could come around to using the P. Louise one more because I don't know, like maybe my preferences in primers have changed, and we'll just kind of see how it works. So I am taking a clean brush to apply this with just to make sure I'm not like mixing the primer. So just straight off the bat, this one is definitely thicker than the DD Signature one. And I don't remember exactly how this one, okay, so it's a lot thicker. I'm gonna actually wipe off a little bit of this because I don't wanna have too much. I do remember that being a bit of an issue. Using too much, it would crease more, but just straight off the bat, I actually like the consistency of the P. Louise one more when putting them side by side. It has a little bit more coverage. It is lighter. I wasn't sure which color to get, so I got the, what is it, shade number 2? And I think I had 2.5 last time. So this is the P. Louise base and the Rumor 02 shade. So you can see it's definitely a little bit lighter than my skin tone, but it's not like by any means too light that I can't or won't use it. It probably is actually the right tone for me, and the Signature one is just a little bit darker. So we're just gonna see if there is a difference in how these apply. I'm not gonna be able to give you a wear test because I do plan on posting this video the day that I'm filming it, so just keep that in mind. So what I'm gonna do for this look is I want to use some of the shades I haven't really played with so far, and I'm thinking maybe like, I haven't dipped into the green row, I don't think, in like some of these darker blues, so that could be fun. I've always enjoyed like a blue and green look, so I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm thinking this shade and this shade in my crease, maybe possibly even dip into the darker one just to see how that one performs. I do feel like a lot of these greens are like kind of similar. Like I wish there was more of a difference in the tone in them. They all like tonally look very, not the same, but I don't know. There's not as much of a jump, I feel like, especially between these two as I would have liked. And I also feel like these 2 shades right here are like pretty much identical. Like I swatched them out the other day because I was curious, and like they almost look exactly the same. Like, did we need two shades that are this similar? I don't know. That is not up to me to decide because I'm not the collaborator and I'm sure she had her own reasons, but I probably would have picked something that was just like slightly more different to each other. But again, this is not my palette, so I'm not going to judge the color story too much because obviously she had a vision with what she chose and that vision is not my vision. So we're gonna go ahead and do this in the front portion. Actually, I'm gonna take this all the way through my crease and then use the blue/blues maybe to deepen it up with. And of course, like, the mattes from Blendbunny are just my absolute favorites. Like, they never let me down. They just perform really well, and I'm curious to try out a couple more of these shimmers. Oh, I definitely have thoughts already about the two primers because they are definitely not performing the same, even if it looks the same on the eyes. I'm gonna wait until I'm done with the mattes and then I'll kind of make up my mind how I feel, but I'm gonna grab this shade, which is a shade called Have Some Decorum, which I don't know what that means. If anybody could explain that to me, I would love that. I'm gonna do this in the outer corner of my eye, blend it into my crease like I always do with all of my eye looks. I don't think I wanna do like a different color underneath, but maybe. Let's see where this ends up. Maybe I'll pull in a little bit of the purple as well just to make it a little bit different. But like I said, I really enjoy like just a green and a blue look. I think the colors just complement each other so nicely and I just always feel very much myself in those colors. Man, this is so interesting to me doing these side by side. Now that I've done two different colors, I feel like the P. Louise primer is a lot more like grippier. Like it really holds on to color a lot more, and I feel like I had to build up the blue on the outer corner much more on the DD Signature side. So I think, I don't know, like the DD Signature one is like easier to blend on and it like things glide a little bit easier, but it doesn't have as much gripping power. And I really like that about the P. Louise one. I'm definitely gonna have to keep playing with that because I love the way that like the shadows look on this eye, and even though it took a little bit more blending to get it to look this way, I just feel like they're almost more vibrant, and I don't know. Like, I'm intrigued right now because I wasn't expecting there to be so much of like a user difference. Like on camera, it probably doesn't look that different, but to like just, I don't know, working on it just feels different. I'm gonna take a little bit of this shade underneath my eye as well. I think I just want to go with the blue. And because this is Blendbunny, I'm gonna use the darker of the blues as well because I know it's gonna just perform great and I just want to deepen this up a little bit. And I know that with this formula, I can absolutely put this right on top and it is going to just look great because like that, I barely even touched my eye. Like I know it doesn't make like a big difference, but it makes enough of a difference to me that I feel like the extra step here is worth it. It just adds a little bit more depth, like just the way I like it. And I also just think that with this color story and the shimmers the way they are being quite dark, I feel like I need that depth. And I think in one of the other looks that I didn't feel like my crease was deep enough to like play well with the shimmer that I put on my lid. So I'm gonna take the shade called Hey, Hi, Hello, and we're gonna do that in the probably middle of the eye. And I feel like I wish there was like a lighter blue. Maybe I'll pull in my, actually I could use this shade. Let's start with this one though. I'm gonna put down some of my NYX glitter primer like I always do. And I'm just gonna do this shade pretty much in the middle here. So you can see it's a very dark shimmer. It definitely has a black base to it. One thing I will say about these shimmers, however, is that for being black based, they actually have worn pretty well on me. I tend to have a lot of problems with creasing with black based shimmers. I've said that many times in the past. And these have creased a little bit, which is to be expected, but not at all as much as I am used to. So wear time has been really, really good for this kind of formula for me, which is a good thing. I just wish I liked black based shimmers more because I don't know, like I just like lighter shimmers. I can't help it. This is a nice shadow, but again, not the choice that I personally would have made if I had other options in the palette. But since it is blue, I figured it just made sense. So I'm gonna take some of this one as well. In the front, I just don't know. I'm gonna have to lighten this up somehow. but I just want to try these because I haven't tried these colors, and I just want to make sure that the formulas are nice and that they are kind of like the same as each other. I feel like this one is maybe a little bit more metallic and sparkly than the blue one. I'm gonna layer this over the top of the blue, and then I'm gonna use a pretty light, probably use my Noctilucent palette in the inner corner, just so we can lighten this up a little bit, because I feel like I need it. I feel like I need a lot of lightness in the front, and I need like a brow bone shade for this to just balance out a little bit. But I have absolutely no complaints about how anything is performing. Of course, I'm not going to judge the shimmers on top of the P. Louise base because I did put down a glitter primer, so that's not going to make a difference at all. But let's go ahead and do something lighter. Do I want to use a green or yellow? I'm thinking probably this one. This is the shade called Enlighten. If it looks like my palette isn't that used, is because I said this in another video, but I brought my Noctilucent palette traveling. This has been a while ago, and the mirror broke in my carry-on, so I had to buy a new one. Which lets you know how much I like this palette when I actually end up buying a replacement for something that breaks. Like, with the collection as big as mine, for me to repurchase something like, you know, that says a lot, because I could replace this with other things in my collection and get almost a similar result. But this palette just, I feel like it's just a need in my collection. I use it for so many things. Honestly, mostly I use it on my eyes. I don't use it as much on my face. But it's just a perfect companion palette when you need something like this. And I feel like, I don't know, this just makes a really, really big difference. So just for fun, I think I'm gonna take the green shade and use that on my brow bone. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this, just put that right here. I don't want to have too much of it, but I do want it to show. I could have used the blue as well, but I think the green is just gonna look nice. And I also definitely think that this look needs lashes, so I'm just gonna finish off real quick, and I think that's all I want to do. Actually, let's take a little bit of, no, let's not. I was gonna say I want to use this like underneath my eye here, but I don't think I do. We'll see if I end up doing anything else with this, but I will show you when I have completed it. Okay, so I finished off the look. I did put a bit of the blue highlighter from the Noctilucent palette as well. This one, underneath my eye, because I just felt like it needed it. And I put on some lashes, and I feel like my lash application today is not that great, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna fuss with it too much because I literally don't plan on going anywhere for the rest of the day. So if my lashes are wonky, so be it. But I also wanted to mention, let me show you the other looks that I've done as well, but I wanted to mention that this collection actually does come with, I think, a highlighter palette, a lip liner, and a lipstick as well, which I did not get sent, which I wish I was able to try those, but I was only sent the palette, which is totally fine as well, but I just wanted to let you know. And I will, of course, link the collaborator down below in my description box if you want to go check her out at all. But yeah, I've had a really good time with this palette. I think that the mattes are absolutely amazing, like Blendbunny mattes always are, and I have nothing to complain about at all. I just don't think that this palette is my perfect color story from the brand, which is totally fine. And like, you're not gonna have, you know, favorites every time a brand comes out with a new palette. That's just how it is. But I feel like with Blendbunny, the thing I like so much about them is that all of their palettes are such good companion palettes. Even if you don't use it just on its own, you can pair two of them together, or just like pair one of them with something else, and you can get exactly what you want, because there are so many options in each palette. And if there is a specific color that you're looking for, Blendbunny probably has it in a matte. So I basically like Blendbunny for that reason, because it's the only brand that I feel like I can travel with as well, because I trust the shadows to not break while traveling with them, because they're very sturdy. Like, the palettes themselves, the way that they're pressed into the pan makes them so that I'm not worried about taking them with me somewhere, as long as I pack it properly. Obviously, it was my fault that the Noctilucent palette broke, but like their eyeshadows, their mattes in particular, not at all afraid of them breaking. Like, I've dropped some of my Blendbunny palettes on accident before, and they're still totally fine, which is good. So I like that I can trust them in that sense. And Obviously, the formulas of the mattes are just amazing as well. I think the formulas of the shimmers are also good, but it's just, they're not my favorite colors. So it's just going to be a color preference thing. If you think that you would like the color story of this, and this is exactly what you've been looking for, you're going to be head over heels in this palette, and you're going to love it. So I guess those are just going to be my thoughts. I do like it, but I think next time I use it, I probably won't use the shimmers in this, and I will pair this with something else, and I'm gonna love the look I end up doing, because there are some absolutely stunning mattes in this that I'm really excited to have in my collection. So I guess those are just gonna be my thoughts. Yeah, let me know if you plan on picking this up. Let me know if you have already picked it up, because it is available as we speak. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you want to see some more Blendbunny content, I of course have a very long playlist. I'll put that right there. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.